and welcome to the Sheraton Johnson Show. Today I'm going to be talking about early adopters. Okay, what is an early adopter? Let's find out. Basically, an early adopter is a person who embraces new technology before most others do. Early adopters tend to buy or try new hardware items and programs and or new versions of existing programs sooner than most of their peers. According to a theory called diffusion of innovators, or DAW, formulated by Everett Rogers, early adopters make up about 13.5% of the population, going so far as pre-ordering cutting-edge gizmos before anyone else has even heard of them. And of course, they're obviously scanning industry and product development websites, comparing notes with fellow geeks and trendsetters on what the next big thing will be. So, early adopters are pretty eager to explore new options in technology. And of course, they're not the most daring. Of course, not especially prone to taking risks. That role is basically left to a small minority of people, and those folks are called innovators. And only one in about 40 people are this type of they have this type of personality. They are pretty much like most. They're most likely to conceive and develop new methodologies and technologies, and who often end up running a large IT corporation or even founding some. Early adopters and innovators have counterparts known as laggards and Luddites. At the opposite end of the human spectrums, of course. They're totally on the opposite end. Laggards are pretty much slow and reluctant to embrace new technology because of disinterest or financial constraints. So that may be a lot of folks that are considered as the laggards. Luddites, on the other hand, actively fear and loathe new technologies, especially those forms that they believe threaten their jobs, so to speak. So let's take a look at some of the new things that were in, let's say, take it back maybe 10 years to 2000 at the beginning. Um, so for example, the BlackBerry. Sure, of course, we're all familiar with the BlackBerry, or RIM, Research in Motion. But in 2001 of June, it was still a novelty, so to speak. At the time, RIM, or Research in Motion, they hadn't quite worked out all the security routines necessary for scaling the BlackBerry to an enterprise. Here's what the folks at BlackBerry had to say. We've been looking for a means to help our senior executives utilize technology in a meaningful way. A lot of them were using email successfully, but they had jobs that took them on the road with customers or on airplanes and away from their PCs. Now, even the technology even though the technology still had its kinks to work out, most of the early adopters were willing to still use the product of BlackBerry because hands down it was an awesome piece of equipment. So they even took it with the kinks and everything. And of course, we kind of know what happened with BlackBerry and some of the progressive years that came. So now that I've explained one of the first early adopter gadgets, how well do you think it would be to become an early adopter? In this day and age, adopting the new phrase of the laggards would be the early bird gets the dud. Wow. The early bird gets the dud. This is because Most new technology and its first generation products, all the bugs are not quite worked out yet. We've seen that with the Apple iPhone that was out a few years ago, and of course they're constantly progressing now. So that's definitely something to think about when we go out and jump for the next big thing or the products that are out there. You know, what are some of the things that they have not considered or may not be working out just yet? So if you're one of the first ones to get that product or that particular service, that's the new hot thing that's in, you definitely want to consider what would be the ramifications of that, or what are some of the bugs or the kinks that they need to work out first. You know, definitely something to think about, especially when you spend a lot of money on getting these new gadgets. So if you think about it, when the new flat screen televisions came out, they were in the price range of up to $15,000 or more. And of course, now you can get a television that's a flat screen television, and depending on what type it is, you can get one for under $1,000. A good one of good quality, actually, depending on the size as well. So there's no need to go and get one and pay what you would pay for a mid-sized car. So let's talk about the next big thing. Speaking of, I wouldn't want to leave you with just a snippet of what's on the horizon. So I definitely want to tell you about that. That wouldn't be fair if I didn't tell you about that. And we're talking about early adoption here. Cloud computing. What is it? An early adopter's dream, especially for businesses right now. Cloud is a metaphor used for the internet. So just wanted to make sure that you knew what the cloud computing kind of stands for, or what it means. So it is a metaphor for the internet. Cloud computing encompasses both software as a service, or SaaS, and software as a platform application. It's where companies buy subscriptions to external servers and software, hence saving the expense of in-house hardware and IT support. Does that sound like maybe some jobs may be at stake? Many businesses are actually moving to such services as the cost of maintaining servers and staff rises. Cloud computing answers the old question, why buy technology that will be obsolete in a few years when you can rent and always be up to date? Even though cloud computing is relatively new, industry participants are already eyeing the next frontier, which is mobile cloud computing. Analysts estimate the mobile cloud computing market could feature 240 million business customers and be worth as much as $5.2 billion by 2015. Wow. And of course, it's no surprise that cloud computing vendors are focusing on the mobile market as well. Cloud computing should generate impressive returns for investors in the coming years, even though there isn't a cloud computing EFT just yet. So I hope that you enjoyed this particular podcast. And maybe you'll join me at my blogger spot at blogger.com and check out my blog all about technology. Thanks so much for joining me here today. I'm Sheraton Johnson signing off for COMA, Coma 4320. Thanks again and have a great evening.